Okay, welcome back everybody. So this is Camaro video phase 2. So basically yesterday we had just finished installing the new radio into the Camaro. Today we're going to be tackling even more fun. The old hinges that came with the car have completely and utterly rotted out. Wonderful, right? Exactly how I feel. So I ended up going out and buying from Camaro Central aluminum hinges for the car. Replacements, of course. They're hardened aluminum. They come with the bolts. They come with these bolts with the nuts attached for the mounting into the back of here. And they also come with new galvanized I think aluminum or steel nuts to go on here, which goes through the inside of the car. This is going to be a fun-filled video because the problem is one of my hinges is screwed up, and the other problem is, if I can find my light, and then the back seat needs to be cleared out, is that one of the, and it's hard to see, bars is not attached to the back of the hatch, but the other one is. So unfortunately, the way I'm going to have to take the hatch one off is to unscrew it while it's under tension. That should be interesting, because I cannot lift it right now, otherwise it will flip off and break, and I have a major catastrophe because if only the hatch breaks, it might flip off and smash into the side of the body, causing massive damage. So how do we do this? Well, we got to do it the way that it takes the longest, but what else am I going to do? So I'm going to be taking that off. But before we really start anything part of this project, it's always safe to start off the safest way possible. And the safest way possible is by disconnecting the battery of the car. The battery is on the other side. So let's jump over to the other side where the battery is. We're on the other side of the Camaro where the battery is located. There's tires for the Chevy pickup truck in front of it. Pop the hood, and what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the battery. The reason why for this is basically for obvious reasons, is in case for some stupid ass reason in the process of doing things, the parts that I'm tweaking with end up whacking something. I don't want it to now short out the car or cause a big spark while I'm in there. So it's safer, I still have to put a mount on that, it's safer to just disconnect the battery than it is to fuck shit up. So always do safety first. Okay. So now the positive's taken off this. That means basically that, well, quite the obvious. Our battery is not going to all of a sudden initiate any power with anything at all on the car, and now we can safely start taking off, well, I'll just say safely start taking off the different parts that we need to take off. As you can tell, the back of the car where those bolts are unfortunately hidden under the louvers. So originally I was not going to take the louvers off the back of the car. I'm going to end up having to take the louvers off of the car, obviously, so I can access those bolts in a safe manner fashion. And where is my flathead? There it is. So let's start taking those off. We're going to jump inside, take off the other bracket, then I start showing you where to take the bolts off for the inside of this and what's attached to the roof. I gotta pop open my trunk with this and then crank along. I advise nobody try this at home. This is not fun. I've had this happen to me once already, so it shoots off like a frickin' rocket. It seriously does. Once this thing gets loose enough, this thing shoots out. The problem is I cannot safely lift my hatch with only one of them attached. I've tried, and all it wants to do is flip off. And when the other one shot off, it was an accident. And now we're actually intentionally going to set it off. That could have went a lot worse, but it didn't. So, it is now safely detached from the car. What we're doing now is taking off these guys. These guys are what attaches the rest of the hinge of the hatch to the car. So those are the next one on the list. There's two there, and then there's two on the other side. Acquired myself some assistance. This hatch is definitely going to be heavy. It's something you don't want to do alone. You don't want to fuck shit up. You don't want to be Mr. Strongarm. Oh yeah, I can lift. And then you fuck shit up. So basically the way that my trunk is locked currently, because it needs a new tumbler, is with a flathead. So I'm going to pop the trunk now. I was waiting for my assistant to show up. So now that we know that is mobile, what we're going to have to do, very carefully, you want to get on the other side. Okay, so yes, no beer later, no cigarette. It took me 5 seconds to figure this one out. So how do you get a frickin' stubborn bolt that has no, yada yada? I ended up going for plan B, which was grabbing my grinding wheel and making a notch to fit my flathead in there to be used as a fulcrum. So now I'm going to do that for the next 3 of them, and you get to watch the sparks as they fly.
Okay, I couldn't find a screwdriver. Is that going to be long enough to reach that lever thing?
That's good.
turn back for this one. Yeah.
I'm so worried about the glass.
All right, it's out. Woo! 5 hours later.
Hallelujah!
My hand hurts.
Holy shit. Wow.
So now, shit off the side here. Alright, so now we got the hinges on. Sweeping out the section in the back of the Camaro where the jam is for the where the hatch goes. It's just easy to do it while we have the opportunity right now. What we're about to start doing is the extremely not so fun part, is now actually getting the hatch back in here and actually put on. And yeah, looks like when it out when they come back. So now we have the fun of actually putting that back on where it was. This is stuff I can do by myself, just doing the lights and piecing the interior back together. So now what we need before we start this party is I need the bolts that go onto it, the nuts that go on to the inner side of the hatch, which they conveniently tape 90 million times. Got a car show next Sunday, or got a car show Sunday, so I got a car show in 7 days.
You taking this?
Yes. Same thing I've currently runs. So what I want to do is get the Camaro up and running so that I get the Camaro's body panels to actually open up, such as the hatch, because that's where I'm going to display all my stuff that I have gotten for the car is in the back of the car versus on the front seats and stuff. So hence I need the hatch up and working, and sometimes that is a show quality stopper, is to actually have the hatch usable versus not having it usable at all. Those fit in there good. Make sure that's all there, that's there. Okay, so now this is where it's going to get real interesting. So basically, as we go to put this hatch on, the bottom bars, the shock bars, they just have to go inside here. So we got to make sure that while we're carrying it, that we can actually shimmy them up into here, and preferably hope that they pass through so that they don't get jammed in anywhere. While we're doing that, the hinges have to also go through the two top bolts, and you'll see the chrome bolts have to go through the holes in here. Once we get it through the holes, then we can slowly lower it down onto the car. Once we lower it down onto the car, then I can make the adjustments on how it's going to sit left and right. I'm going to jump inside, put the 4 nuts on the bolts quickly so that now it's attached to the car, and then we can shimmy it again to make sure that the way that it sits with the right distance on each side, so it sits flush, and that the lock lines up with the lock down here. Once that's all said and done, now we got to try to I more or less have to try to now go inside and actually try to tighten the bolts that are on the hatch, hoping that I don't have to really fuck with anything too much and we don't have to take it off again. But we'll cross that bridge as we start reassembling it. After that's done and the hinges are on there and everything's attached, the next stage is that you're going to have to hold the car up, hold the hatch up in the air, and I'm going to have to attach the 2 support bars on there so that the support bars hold up the trunk on its own. And then after that, it's done, and then I just go back to now disassembling this, putting in a new lock, and then I'll end up pulling the car out, flipping it around after reattaching the battery and all the electronics, flip the car around so the nose is sticking out, and start working on the driver's side and the passenger side doors, pulling off the door panels and reinstalling installing the new locks and tumblers into the doors. So, with that said, we're going to start off with grabbing the hatch and putting it on. Which side do you want to take? Which side's easier for you to walk down? You say the driver's side?
Yeah.
Make the ground shake.
Alright, so now the new hatch hinges are on. Thank you. Everything's all tightened up, everything lines up, and now I just got to reattach the wiring that I had to quickly snip to get it off, because this thing is a heavy bitch, and I'm not going to fuck with something that's heavy. I'm trying to take it off, so I'm just going to cut the wires. I'll go back, fix the wiring on it, but that is so far how you successfully replace the hinges on your 84 or any third gen Camaro. I am not going to lie, it is better to have 3 or 4 people to do this. This was not easy at all, so don't let people fool you. Oh yeah, it's easy. No, it's easy when you have 3 or 4 people and you have a grinding tool that doesn't run on batteries. It's the only way you're going to get the old ones off. You got to grind the nut off completely, and then when you can see the bolt, you just whack it, pops it right off. But that's about it. It is definitely a heavy SOB. for a trunk lid, but that's mainly because it's all glass, so that's where you got most of your weight from. Other than that, that's it. I'm going to clean up, reattach the wiring, put the louvers back on, and if I decide to start going through the tumbler lock on the trunk, then I'll pick that up in the next video on how to do the lock for the trunk, and the locks for the doors will be in the next video. Alright, thank you. Have fun. Be safe. Alright. So we got everything reattached. Wiring is all redone, whatever. Just gotta connect the battery now. I gotta move my truck out of the way so I can flip the Camaro around. So that basically I can end up just finishing it off. I just gotta sneak over there, reattach the battery, drop the hood, back it out, flip it around. That's it.
Chevrolet, Dodge and Ford, raising a little hell and praising the Lord. You're such a simple truth speaking, working for the weekend. Every time it hits the brave enough to bust out city lights in my sights. I gon' do it upright. Now I'm sitting here with this guitar tonight, kicking it in the big town, wishing I'd have slowed it down. And I'd give anything if I was driving around with the big dreams in my pocket. Yeah, this is for the ones who don't know how good they got it. Hey, hey,
next episode is I think will be about the changing out the tumblers for the doors and the trunk. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.